I'm very reluctant to go to stores anyway, and so I'm going to have to come up with a new pair of shoes. But if you see a guy walking around with masking tape,
I love it,
on a pair of New Balance sneakers, that's me. We used to do that all the time. I remember going out. I mean, just wrapping up sneakers with tape as if you were, putting the gloves on Muhammad Ali or something, like you were Angelo Dundee. All right, kid, that looks pretty solid. Go out there and knock them out now. Always embarrassing when you were in. I mean, and I can't tell you how many of these shots I hit on the opening hole, which was a fairly easy hole. I mean, I would have to say the fairways are very generously appropriated there at Shula's. So, I mean, you should be able to hit the ball somewhere where your second shot isn't going to be something that you need a chainsaw to execute. That little shrub that was just to the left of the women's tees. And you're looking out like Arnie Palmer, just in the neck and everything.
Like you hit it far, and it's right there.
And then the other guy just laughingly, they're all cracking up behind you and say, I think you lie one.
Yeah.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a very pleasant Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with one Mike Lubitz here on Ion Channel, Jack Namer's fine organization, and very happy to be with you for another edition of Degenerate Friday. And it is exactly that for me. I have actually taken up the entire theme and taken it to heart because Fridays are my Degenerate Friday. Now, last Friday, I was degenerating at the Borgata, which was fantastic, staying at Harrah's in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I was easing into day 2 of what was a 5-day degenerate bloodbath. And, of course, it was fueled largely by the fact that I knew that I couldn't leave town a loser, which is a very unusual circumstance because it was early last Friday morning. It's hard to believe it was already a week ago that I had 2 frantic telephone calls come in while I was charging my phone, the first one of which I ignored because I was charging my phone. In hotels, it's hard to find sockets for your phone charger anywhere near where you really want them, right?
Yes.
Because you're thinking, can I plug it into this lamp? No, doesn't fit. Where are the other sockets? I don't know. There's one behind the safe.
That's so true.
Which you usually have no reason to use. I mean, it's interesting because the first thing you do is say, okay, let's program the safe, and there's nothing to put in there, all right? You came with your bankroll that you had. Maybe you had a dime on you, a little bit more, but that's about it. And you're figuring you're going to make frequent ATM visits. But I did get the call. I ignored the first one. Now, and I'll freely admit that. I knew it had to be the Mustang, and I completely ignored the first call as if I was asleep, which I almost was. And then the phone rang again almost immediately after. So I get up to answer it, and I missed the call.
Oh, no.
And so, I'm going, hello, Mustang, you all right? And I'm figuring the only thing I could figure is that something happened to her, something negative. Maybe she said something obnoxious to one of the security people, and they were about to rescind our room for the rest of the weekend. We were going to have to maybe go see if we could scrub something up at the Trop. Hey, does Trump still own anything here? Maybe we can talk to Donnie. Get ourselves a room. I don't know what was happening, right? So I sent her a text. I said, hey, what's up? And she said, I won a jackpot. And that was a great feeling because it put me into a week ago. I was sitting there with a status of you will not leave this town a loser. There was just no way to do it.
Nice.
We had a check for a dime in the safe, and I was free to go ahead and maybe gamble with a little bit more of an eye on danger than I normally would have in my conservative approach, where I'm constantly calculating in my head, let's see, I'm stuck $200 today. That's $500 for the trip. I don't want to go to the ATM machine. I have $200 left in my pocket. I'm going to have to hit something soon, or else what? Suggest that we go have a drink somewhere, and maybe look at the ocean and contemplate jumping in. There's nothing high enough in Atlantic City to really do any damage in terms of jumping into the ocean. Because the pier is closed, that steel pier, whatever they call that thing. Is that the steel pier in Atlantic City? I think it is.
I've never been.
Close, yeah. Nobody's on the beach. I can assure you, Mike Lubitz, even on the most beautiful of days. Every now and then you'll see a couple of people schlepping down there with a chair, and you're thinking, what's wrong with you, man? There are casinos right here on the other side of the boardwalk, asshole.
There's casinos.
Why else would you be here except to gamble your brains out? So that was real luxury. I mean, when you're in a gambling situation and you realize that there's no way that you could plow through that much money in the span of a few days, and you're not going to allow yourself to do it, it's like a free roll. But I have sort of adopted the theme of Degenerate Friday because Friday is my day to degenerate. I do
Nice.
the show here with Mike Lubie Lubitz, take off on the walk of life, do whatever else we have to do, and come back. We have Mike Mayo's Lunchbox from 12 to 1 on a local radio station here. Although for how long, I don't know. No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. But we'll have the Gambling Gourmet on later. I mean, he's very sincere about the whole thing. He does a great job on that. And he starts talking about places. And his old, food critic writer's head comes into play. And he uses a lot of descriptive language and everything. So it's a lot of fun. And I would have to agree with Mike Mayo, and I believe this to be true. I've lived in other big cities where the dining scene is, at the very top levels. New York City, certainly known for its dining and variety of restaurants and the number of restaurants. Los Angeles, very same thing. And now I'm here in South Florida, and I do believe that the food scene here, the dining scene in South Florida, is as good as anywhere that I've been. Would you agree that that's true,
Yes.
Mike Lubitz?
Yeah, because I talked about it with Mayo actually while you were gone. There was a poster on his board that said something about, I haven't seen it here. Nothing's like my original LA. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Everybody says that. Yeah,
really?
yeah.
do you leave your area? And I went down the whole thing because I've been around you and Ken enough that you can go from Del Rey all the way to Boca to Pompano Beach. Just along Pompano Beach is amazing. Down to Hollywood, down to Miami. If you go out west, if you leave your area, you can find anything you want, and it's all high and low level, good quality.
Zillions of places too. I mean, it's not like you're going to run out of choices. You can walk down any block here in South Florida and find 10 different places that you wouldn't mind dining at, and that's true of virtually every square mile of this area. So I do believe that there is a fantastic dining scene here, and maybe we'll get into a little of that with Mike Mayo later on. Mayo, by the way, he made, I think, a very foolish bet, and this is going to benefit both of us. You benefit either way because you're not involved in the possibility.
I am. No, I claim I'm putting myself into it. You took care of this thing. I'm either going to split it with you or I'll take it over. No, I'm in.
No, you don't want to split this one necessarily
I know,
because we're talking about Runway 84.
It's legit. I get it. It's fine. I'm in. No, I'm in.
Not that it's overly expensive, but it's going to cost you.
It's not Skyline.
We lose this bet. I mean, we're talking about a couple of sticks at the very least, and maybe even, getting into the whole idea of what do you qualify as several sticks? Is it anything more than 3? Several sticks for dinner for 4?
Two.
Yeah.
After 2 would be more. Yeah, it would be 3 or
4 people, you're probably looking at least a nickel here. So, you don't, I won't commit you to that, Mike Lubitz. I know you're struggling a little bit here in the transitional stage. It's not like, it's been easy.
I'm not killing it, but I'm off.
We're having fun, but we're not going to fool you. It hasn't been easy, the whole thing.
No, it's been interesting.
Too much fun, but you know what? If you could turn this into whatever it was that we were doing before from a financial standpoint and maybe even exceed that, which I think we're going to do, then this is a piece of cake. And thank you, Jack, for taking a shot with us, because Jack's still walking around back and forth there at the studio going, when are we going to make some money with this thing? When are we going to make some money with this thing?
That's a great question.
It's right around the corner. I've got this thing figured out. So anyway, I mean, a great dining scene here. You would have to rate South Florida as among the best. Well, we'll have Mike Mayo address that a bit later on. Now, what it also is here, and I got a note here. I happened to glance at it, and from, of course, the great Andy, and he says, "Since when are you limited to being a degenerate on Fridays?"
I was going to say, that's impressive, actually. Good for you. You beat me to it.
But it's my day where, after all is said and done, and I get done with Mike's show there at 1 o'clock, it's straight zippity-doo-dah over to a local casino where they have simulcasting, and I'm right back there in my element that I was in Atlantic City, which was glorious. And there's nothing like just a 5-day degenerate cleansing. Although I've been sort of jonesing, like I actually broke out in a little rash yesterday because it had been 4 or 5 days since I had made a horse wager. And I started to feel it, and it was actually erupting through my skin, the desire to get to a racetrack. So I'm looking very much forward to degenerating later on today, and that'll be great. I was, you know what, being on East Coast time, I always thought it was way more beneficial to be in Las Vegas if you're going to be involved in simulcasting plunging on the horses, because, everything opens up at like 10 o'clock. You're already involved in like 6 different bets. But it wasn't bad, really, being on East Coast time. You got to relax a little bit in the morning. And, the beauty of being in a gambling destination like Vegas or Atlantic City is you don't ever have to even put your car keys in your pocket, right? Everything's in walking distance. So you go down an elevator, you slide into a casino, and bingo, there it is.
That's like the
Philadelphia
coolest
Park, Aqueduct, Gulfstream. Later on, all of the West Coast tracks get factored in. You got Fairgrounds and Oakland Park opening up like an hour later. And by 11 o'clock, you're already out of money. I'd say AM, not PM. But it's the second time too. Speaking of degeneracy, that I've made it through a multiple day, 4 or 5 day casino junket and never gone to the ATM machine. And I don't like to. I don't go out there with like 5 dimes in my pocket because I don't like to carry a lot of cash at any time. And that goes back to the old habit of always thinking that when you were walking around in New York, there was a pretty good chance. Can I say this? I mean, is there some gypsy organization that's going to be sensitive to it? Mayo was suggesting that, being disparaging to gypsies. Well, I don't know that this is disparaging, but you're thinking that some gypsy might have picked your pocket. Right?
Yeah, is there a big group of gypsies? I don't know.
Remember that story that Joe Montana told us? The great actor Joe Montana, when he was on the show, and he was talking about how he was hanging out with Vito Anafermo in Italy, and he was on one of the modes of public transportation. Or I think he said it was a subway. They have subways in Italy, subways, underground trains.
They have trains. Yeah, they have trains.
And he was saying how ironic it was that the middleweight champion of the world, one of the most feared guys in all of the world in terms of physicality and the ability to do damage and break your nose with one punch, was actually held up by gypsies on a subway train. Those gypsies can be tricky. I don't know, especially when it comes to that sort of thing. But I want to disqualify all of those comments from any association with Ion Channel, Mike Lubitz, because imagine that. You get your number taken down by some gypsy organization that was hypersensitive to the fact that you suggested that maybe in the past some gypsy might have picked your pocket. That would be a bad way to lose the job. It really would.
I mean, I don't know what. Gypsy is a very generic term. Like, I feel like those we're talking about probably don't even assume that they're gypsies. So I think you're safe.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm a gypsy.
If this is how it ends, yeah. If some gypsy gets up and says, "You know what? That Deforrest, what an asshole."
like I don't think they know you're talking about them. So I think you're safe.
I'm mentally deranged now for the rest of my life because this fat old Jew suggested that I picked his pocket when he was 12 on his way back from Shea.
What's a Jew?
Might have had a few bucks in his pocket there from the extra money that he made from people who forgot their change when, they were buying souvenirs and went out the door there with the wave of people, and you were screaming after them, "Sir, your change."
Exactly.
Right? The guy's already like halfway to the subway. It was great. All right, many things. Speaking of degeneracy, and last night, the NCAA tournament, unbelievable action, and I couldn't help but be struck by this. And that we have talked about this guy before. And he actually at one time was on a phenomenal run handicapping games. This guy in the New York Post known as Howie Hoops, Howie Kasoy.
Yeah, we've had him on the show before. Yep.
It might have been a couple of rare appearances a long time ago. It's been a while since we've engaged the services and the opinion.
He went on a rough streak, so that wasn't worth my time.
Rough streak?
On,
I mean, he's right up there with the Brent Musburger Bury America campaign. All right, so and this gets into kind of an interesting thing because we've been talking about it, and a lot of people write very eloquently about degenerate gambling and their analysis of games. You'd have to look at it and go, well, what the fuck do I know about this? When look at this guy. Why am I making a selection when read this guy's stuff? I mean, he knows everything. Sabermetrics. Has all the analysis. And anyway, I'm looking at the 4 games last night. I didn't really have any giant lean in any one direction or another. I did kind of like Houston a little bit to upset Arizona. But did I pull the trigger on that? No. All right. A lot of people thought Houston was going to make a run. Is it Kelvin Sampson or Calvin Sampson? Kelvin Sampson. Kelvin Sampson. All right, his resume includes a 5-year suspension from any activity in the NCAA. How great is that?
Yes.
That as soon as he's off this 5-year suspension, the University of Houston says, "Hey, Sampson, you want to come here? No problem. We don't care what you did in the past. Rules violations means nothing." And, he's done a great job with this program. He actually was very successful, as I recall. Sampson became kind of a hot commodity through a couple of runs in the NCAA tournament. Did he not?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's been very successful. He just dabbles.
He just doesn't necessarily think that the rules are just, and he certainly doesn't think that they apply to him. Let's put it that way.
Pretty much, yes.
Does that make him any different than any other guy? You think Coach K hasn't had a few indiscretions, huh? I would imagine so. How did Zion Williamson, A, get into the school, and B, somehow everybody managed to miss the fact that he already had like $250,000 in his pocket? Eligible? Yes, of course he is. He's playing for Duke. And they're going to put him on CBS. And guess what? A lot of people are going to watch games because Zion Williamson was a super hyped college player who was worth the hype as a college player. Now, as a pro, he's been just a flat-out bust. But I don't know. I mean, he did flash some potential that he could translate and transfer those skills to the pros, which a lot of people question.
His issue is he doesn't stay on the court. Maybe he's played like a quarter, maybe less than a quarter of his time. And a lot of people think he'll be done for this year. He just doesn't play.
He seems to be. I mean, the thing that's swirling around about Zion Williamson is perhaps that there is somewhat of a lack of motivation, which is surprising because he was one of those guys that you really wanted to embrace because it seemed like Brett Favre, even if you hated Brett Favre, you had to appreciate his love, his zeal for the game. And Williamson seemed to sort of give you that feeling that he absolutely loved what he was doing. He was very humble about the whole thing. When he took a 3-point shot, you were thinking, wow, look at this. The guy can shoot a little bit also. In addition to being just very quick on the inside, as opposed to your man, Lubie, Drew Timme, who is a tough guy. Like if you were playing in a park somewhere and you had Drew Timme down low even, somewhere within 15 feet of the basket, you would say, wow, get that man the ball. He's going to do something with it. Yeah. But I don't know that his skills translate to the pros so much because, if you were looking at Zion Williamson, he was much more powerful and far quicker than Timme is. And people had questions about whether he could make it as a pro. Timme was solid in the game last night. I told you that guy Holmgren didn't overwhelm me. If that's the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, did he not distinguish himself as being unworthy of that?
I don't know.
And, his play, I mean, he had a bunch of rebounds. He fouled out in the game last night. I think he had like 13, 14 points, but he wasn't an overwhelmingly forceful factor in that game, was he?
No, he had a double-double, and the entire tournament he's been fine. And I get it. His thing is potential. He can ball handle. He can shoot the 3, and he also can play on the block defensively, which is a cool thing and needed. But
you're not looking at Olajuwon. I mean,
when I watch him, I don't know, man. He doesn't look. He supposedly is athletic, and I haven't seen it. I haven't watched a ton of him, but I watched him in the tournament when he's supposed to shine.
He's not a geek. Yeah, he's 7 feet and change, and he's not a geek.
No,
he does have some athleticism. Yeah. He's not some awkward guy that's going to take years to, finally mature and get the feeling for what he can do with his body. But it's not like he's throwing up, the sky hook with a perfect arch there.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. He's not impressive.
I think you're looking at Michael Olowokandi if he's the number 1 overall pick.
I feel like he may be better than
Olowokandi.
But I'm not like overwhelmed by him. Like I wouldn't want him at number 1. I can tell you that he's a project. It's going to take him some time to like fill out. He weighs like 180 pounds. Like the dude is like a stick figure.
Like, he's a stick. He was a stiff last night, in my opinion. If you were going to say, hey, wait a minute, who's going to carry Gonzaga over the top? And Timme had a decent ball game. I don't think you could knock him. But the Zags go down. And what was my one prediction before the tournament, Lubie? Did I not, right here on this show, guarantee everybody on the life of my son and my 2 dogs, and maybe to never gamble again if I was wrong about this, that Gonzaga, everybody's darling, to win it all this year. Yes, they're due, and this is it. Mark Few, he's been knocking on the door. Bless his heart. Seems like a really good guy. He takes the losses very well. I mean, he makes those kind of, smirky looking faces, but it's not like he's being a jerk about it. He just seems, to be truly disappointed that once again,
yes,
the Zags have fallen short. But I did guarantee everybody that they would not win the tournament. I felt that from watching the way college basketball played out this year. And for some reason, as the tournament started, everybody fell in love with Gonzaga and Arizona were the 2 teams most prominently picked by every expert to win the championship.
The 4 teams I heard were Gonzaga, Arizona, Kentucky, and Auburn.
There you go.
All are out.
Gonzo City, all of them, all out before they even got down to the field of 8. Unbelievable. All right, so here's this Howie Kasoy yesterday, and what are you supposed to do, America? There's, I think, a subversive plot to make sure, never mind sanctions on the Russians ruining their economy. Selectors of ball games are going to ruin the American economy. The gas prices mean nothing. Go ahead, pay like $10 a gallon. It doesn't make any difference because these are the guys that are going to bury you. And these are guys that at one time possessed some level of credibility in this category, which, what was the reason? Remember, I told you we had to get this Howie Kasoy on. The guy was on fire.
Oops, he was killing it. Yep.
But that was like 12 years ago, Lubie, I believe.
Yeah,
and since then, it's been all downhill. So his very brilliant dissertation on all of these games last night, he says, take the Zags minus 9.5 over Arkansas. 0-1. He says, take Michigan plus 4.5 over Villanova. 0-2. He says, take Texas Tech minus 1.5 over Duke. 0-3. And then he suggests that you take Arizona minus 1.5 over Houston.
Oh no! He went, oh no! Oh no!
Now, prior to that, and I'll give the Post credit because at least they have accountability for their handicappers, or at least most of them. There's this other thing, this Action Sports, which I think is Musburger's former Vegas Sports Information Network.
I don't know. Maybe
they have no accountability. They never put the guy's record in there. Nothing. All right.
Just forget about it.
Embarrassing. So on the tournament so far, Howie Kasoy, Howie Hoops. To be named Howie Hoops, you better be good. All right.
Yeah.
And this kid at one time was great. Now, I mean, as he's matured and been doing this longer, he literally can't pick his nose. He was 20-26 going into that 0-4 blockbuster last night.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Now, you turn to another part, and so they have one guy that's suggesting you bet 4 straight losers in yesterday's New York Post, and that's their own guy. And then they have, I mean, look at this, Lubie. This is all, this whole page is this guy's explanation of the ball game between Michigan and Villanova. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
And he has a picture of Hunter Dickinson. They're like 7'1" guy for Michigan. And he's talking about what a great job they're doing, the Michigan Wolverines. And his conclusion is that you should take Michigan on the money line in this game, plus 180.
Okay.
So if you followed these picks, you're 0-5.
No, that's a 50.
5 stupid college basketball games, and you can't pick one of them? I mean, literally, remember that time we had the monkey in there?
Yes.
And if he picked a green grape, it was one team, and a purple grape, it was another team. And the guy, the monkey went like 3-2 in NFL games. It is true. You could literally, based on where your dog, which side of the street your dog took a shit on, you could do a better job than going 0-5, which this was the expertise. And let's not, forget that this newspaper right here is inundated with nothing but degenerate gambling ads.
Yeah.
So they're encouraging you to gamble on both, the advertising side, and then they're giving you what they think is the information that's going to get you off to a decent start and or have a winning day. And it literally is cremation. Unbelievable, right? I mean, well, would you like to cremate the body? The Jews find that to be sacrilegious. Cremate me. That's the way I want to go out the door here, really. Right. Just go ahead and ashes to ashes, my friend. Ashes to ashes, which is what happened to your money if you followed the experts yesterday.
Look, and it's like what you say, and it is important to understand that a lot of the time their justifications are logical, but at some point,
very logical, of course. I mean, they're not even picking all favorites here. That's the other part of it.
And they're mixing it up, and that's fine. But like, if you never get hot ever, like at some point, like why would I follow you?
It's funny, our buddy Hank Goldberg, he had that 1 year on ESPN where he couldn't lose. Yeah. And it was early on in the time that he had become, the second coming of Pete Axtell for them. And, Axe used to give out games. He was brilliant. And Hank, that first year or two, one of those 2 years, he was on a roll that was just absolutely phenomenal. And it came from about the midway point of the season all the way through the postseason. And everybody thought, wow, this guy is a god. Now, I don't know that he ever had even another winning season. I would imagine that he did. And yet, it's true. If you were sitting with Hank in a casino, and some stranger came up, they would immediately recognize him from his position there on ESPN. And even though he had just had 7 straight losing years, they would say, "Hank, who do you like?" If you're going to go the other way, that's one thing. But people think that if you had like one good year or something, or one good spell, that all of a sudden you're going to be able to perpetuate that into, as they say, perpetuity, and it just isn't the case. One of the most honest guys about it is Brandon Lange, who is
he's
on an
honest.
unbelievable role. Brandon Lange, the
Yeah,
handicapper. We featured him here on the show and also on our Believe podcast.
today he'll be
anytime.
on Believe. Yep, and he's talking about the tournament, and he's, as I've talked to him, he's on a heater, as they say. He's killing it right now.
Yeah, he had won like 8 straight tournament games. But, and the gambler will also dig even deeper into it, because you're thinking, okay, so that's 8 straight NCAA tournament games he picked. But he doesn't care what tournament it is. It could be the tournament from Mutant Pygmy, students, and he would bet the game if he thought he had an edge, because he was betting like CBI.
Yep,
College,
yep.
How low on the totem pole is the college basketball invitational?
I don't know, because I haven't watched the NIT ever in my life. So if they still do the
NIT used to be big, though, so I still have a little bit. A lot of ex-New Yorkers, especially, have a feeling for the NIT. And as I said, it was the first time I ever attended a college basketball game in my lifetime. I believe it was the semifinals of the NIT one year, when Kansas had JoJo White. And you had Dayton in there with Donnie May, was the big star on the Dayton Flyers. And he went on to play 6'4", and, real good hustling SOB, that a nice guy, too. But he, he was a great college player. And as a pro, the 6'4" thing was a little bit prohibitive, because he was sort of a tweener among tweeners. Yeah. Right? Too small to really be a forward, and not necessarily quick enough to be a guard. Had, I want to say, a very modest pro career that started also, I want to believe, with the New York Knicks, right? Donnie May? Andy, wasn't Donnie May originally a New York Knick?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's you guys.
I thought JoJo White was just a straight-up chucker when he was playing for Kansas. Do you remember JoJo White? He went on to a good career in the NBA.
Of him. Yeah, I know of him. I don't remember.
Man, he wasn't afraid to throw him up there from like 30, 35 feet, even in college. And this predated the three-point shot. Can you imagine how many he would have chucked up there? By the way, in an NBA game the other night, they took, let's see, I think there was a total of 189 shots, and 99 of them were from three-point range. You talk about bombs away bombsy. More than half the shots taken in NBA games from three-point range. Do you really want to watch that many bricks go flying, Lubie? I'd rather see some actual basketball. What happened in the game? Nothing. Baseball and basketball, I don't know. I mean, nothing like what they used to be. I imagine this. This still bothers me that they're going to institute a rule change to ban the shift. I don't understand how you can have a rule that prohibits you from playing defense according to the way you figure that you should play defense. I mean, if you're going to defend a guy, that literally would be like installing a rule to have teams count Mississippis when they went against the Dolphins' offensive line.
Yeah, well, there's that. But that's the thing is, like, what's funny is you and I both despise the shift. I think it's annoying, but yeah. I think professional hitters should be able to hit around it. Like, learn to hit the opposite.
Wouldn't you want to see a shift when you came to the plate in any situation, and everybody moves to one side of the field? Please, give me that all day long. I don't care. You can't hit a chopper to the other side of the field. Something, right? I mean, bunt the ball, anything. Swing late.
Do something. Like, just, I'm screwed. There's a shift. Darn it.
Why would anybody hit into the shift? I understand, you're sort of, taking away, let's say you have a big pull power hitter, the guy, especially left-handers, seem to struggle more with going the opposite way than right-handers. Where's Rod Carews' video, huh? Exactly. He had no problem doing that. Exactly. You imagine they put the shift on and Carew was at the plate? Forget about it. Yeah, Tony Oliva, wasn't he capable of hitting it to all fields? Another left-handed hitter that you would think. Yes, Willie Stargell, Dave Parker. If you put the shift on against them, would that have done it? But it seems to me it's more applicable for some reason. Why is it that lefties struggle to hit to all fields where righties for me, it was actually sort of semi-natural to go to right field. It really
I
was.
I hit everywhere.
Yeah.
I wasn't directional. I wasn't a great hitter, but I just hit it.
Yeah. I mean, if you were going to try and hit home runs and jack them out of the park, yes, of course, you were going to, pull through there. And listen to me, I'm like Tom Umansky here on the show. All of a sudden, I'm Mr. Expert on hitting. I should be the hitting coach for the Marlins. What happened with that, by the way? Derek Jeter got rid of their longtime guy, and they couldn't hit after that. Way to go, Derek. Nice job. How would you characterize the Derek Jeter era as a baseball executive right now? Butarsky, 0.0? Yeah.
And I mean, the yellow tray was a disaster. Literally, they didn't get one player that is playing for them. And the Realmuto tray wasn't great because Sixto was the prize there, and we don't even know if Sixto is going to play till middle of the year. So the Stan trade, I didn't mind it, but they didn't get anything back for that. The only trade they got anything for was when they got Alcantara. So that's great, but I mean, they haven't signed anyone. The farm system's better, but again, if the farm system's better, but you're still not winning in the big leagues. I mean, it was
Blind squirrel. They found one with Alcantara. All right, so we've covered the entire gamut of virtually everything, but Duke's still alive. That's annoying, is it not? Very annoying, Mike Lubie. Duke is still alive. I watched the beginning of that game, and Texas Tech comes out. They're on fire. They steal like the first three possessions. They tap the ball away from an unsuspecting Duke player who was just dribbling around out there waiting for Coach K to call a play. And it's 5 slamma-jamma. I mean, they're coming down the court and dunking. They're up 10-2, and I thought, good. Finally put to rest another negativity, which is having to listen to the insufferable amount of praise that's going Duke's way as Coach K does his swan song. And at one point in the season, I thought this was going to be the case, that Duke was going to win it, but then they kind of staggered around there in the late rounds of the regular season and in the tournament, and so far, so good. They've won 3 games in the NCAAs, and now, you imagine a platform, a stepping stone coming up for Duke to make their way into the Final Four. That's going to be a rough week of listening to Coach K hype. I would imagine the professor, was absolutely aghast last night when all of a sudden Duke was right back in that ballgame. All right, this is good. Lubie knows a lot of famous people. A lot of people that Lubie knew as a child have gone on to great accomplishments. Yes. And this guy's got like a hot movie out. He's going to join us next. And a longtime friend, went to Hebrew school with Mike Lubie Lubitz. So I would imagine there'll be some stories to tell. A gentleman named Justin Later is going to join us as our next guest here on our Degenerate Friday show. Then Mark Lawrence couldn't make it this week. The professor has the big board. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, as well. And we'll come back and talk with a movie star. But we do want to remind everybody that, it's going to be a beautiful weekend, and a beautiful weekend to take in all the activity at Hialeah Park. And you talk about the possibility of winning money. I mean, jackpot after jackpot after jackpot after jackpot. Does John Bernini Jr., call Steve Calabro into his office once in a while and say, "Hey, Steve, hello? I mean, we're in this business to make a little money ourselves. Could you leave some here?" Jackpot after jackpot being one of those slot machines there at Hialeah Park. And that's a good thing, man. There's nothing worse than going to a casino where it's like a morgue. I mean, it's crazy. You may as well just take your money, wad it up, and throw it out your car window on your way down there, because you can't win, right? You can't win, Rock. These was good fighters. But Hialeah, they have a different philosophy. They want you to have fun. You get a player's card to give you a generous allotment of free play, all kinds of entitlements. It's just really, really great. The way they treat the patron at Hialeah Park, and that's why they've been so successful. A lot of people doubted it. A lot of people thought, it was very much like Muscle Man last night. Muscle Man, who, coached Arkansas and said, you see that? Nobody thought we could win. A lot of people doubted it about Hialeah Park making it as a casino, and man, have they made it. They're setting the pace when it comes to casino play here in South Florida. Got a great poker room, of course, the Champion simulcasting room, among my favorite places. Even outshines, it really does. It's a better place to gamble than even that perfectly set up race book at the Borgata, right? Because you got the food right there, and you can get anything you want. You want privacy, you have it. You want to mingle with the guys, you have it. You want to go outside and look at the just inherent beauty of the place, you can do that too. It's just great. Bar right in there, and everything's reasonably priced. You're going to love the activity. Great weekend. And of course, they're open till 5 a.m. on the weekends and 3 a.m. during the week. As we said, get a player's card. You get all kinds of amenities and entitlements that go along with it. Great food and drink all over the place. It's a great place to go. Always wonderful activity. Beautiful, highly apart. All right, we get into a little cinematic stuff and maybe a little bit of Mike Lubitz's past, which is not particularly flattering. I would have to say.
No. The present's a lot better.
From Justin Lader, who's now a big star filmmaker.
It's number 3 on Netflix right now. Windfall, number 3 on Netflix right now. Came out last week. It's been top 5 all week long.
And what will I be looking for later on today in my parimutuel endeavors? A windfall.
Exactly.
So we'll talk about that when we come back here on the Defo Show on Ion Channel in a moment. Now that.
The time.
I knew I was leaving Atlantic City, and I couldn't lose from day one. How great is that?
That's a win.
Thank you, Stang. One tang. It's 7:36.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
State Line Dolphins with John.
Either way, if they can get the right guy to fall, like, could be a coup. So there's a few guys around that area that actually could be really good if they get the right guy, honestly.
It's now time for the Defo Show.
Later joins us on the show. He has a movie out on Netflix that he wrote called Windfall, and it has just an absolutely stellar cast starring in this film, and one of many successes that he's had so far. And the interesting thing is we welcome Justin to the program. Justin, first of all, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a wild week with the release of a movie like this. It's bigger than anything I've ever experienced before. My other 2 movies, which were significantly smaller, at least in release. So it's been exciting.
Well, that's great. But was it as exciting as meeting Mike Lubitz in Hebrew school? Because I believe you go all the way back to like Hebrew school, where I guess were you practicing Haftorahs there for upcoming bar mitzvahs? And did you attend Lubie's bar mitzvah? Because we have some questions about that if you did.
Oh, Jesus.
I attended Lubie's bar mitzvah. Being the movie's been out for this Friday will be a week, and I'm starting to now come back down to reality. I still haven't come back down to reality since I met Lubitz in Hebrew school. That was like first grade. So I don't think you could compare the two.
They're putting your star on the Hollywood Boulevard Hall of Fame there, and you still can't forget the nightmares about meeting Mike Lubitz. Well, we were curious though. A, how was the food at Lubie's bar mitzvah, and B, how obsessive was he about the money, and did he open your gift right away and pass judgment on whether or not you really were his friend?
You know what? I don't remember the specifics because, and Lubie could attest to this. Back in those days, it was like the bar mitzvah circuit every Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a different one. I do remember his little, you have to like sign a board. And I do remember his very cheesy early 90s. He's like wearing a Tommy Hilfiger shirt, like turning to the camera pose. And it stood out so much that for a period of time, I don't know, in like the mid 2000s or like around 2010, for a solid year, I was able to get my hands on a picture of it, and it was my Facebook profile picture for a solid year.
All right, let's get away from that. And now, how did you get involved in filmmaking and obviously screenwriting? Because, Lubie, I don't know if any of the other classmates have demonstrated any of this kind of inclination or skills, but certainly we haven't seen any of that from Lubie. So how did you, it's kind of a unique thing. How did you get started?
It's always been something I was interested in. I went to college and I majored in film, and then from university college, I went to UCF, and then I went to AFI, where I had to focus and pick a discipline. So I picked screenwriting, and telling stories and movies and TV shows was always a big deal for me growing up. And I knew fairly early on that this is what I wanted to do. You just sort of pick a lane and stick to it. And I always say, like, it's tougher when you don't know what you want to do, and you're sort of like floundering to find it, even if you land at something that's kind of a more realistic ambition. That's tougher to me than knowing I'd rather know what I want to do, knowing that the odds are like astronomically against you, because at least I know what I'm driving at. And it was always this, and luckily I started young because I knew I wanted to do this young, and I was too naive to know that the odds were stacked against me. But here I am.
He's being super humble. Defo, he was writing scripts. Like when I first met him in 4th grade, he was writing full scripts. Like he was a 9-year-old writing scripts. Like he had dialogue.
In Hebrew, no less.
Yeah. And Hebrew thrown into. Justin's literally been doing this forever. It's not luck. Dude went to UCF, was stellar there. Then went to AFI, one of the most renowned film schools in all of the world, and was one of the top of their class. So he's full of shit. He is humble. He's been talented his whole life in a way I could only dream of. What I want to ask you, though, about this film, Windfall, you co-wrote it with Andrew Kevin Walker, writer of the legendary film Seven, starring an amazing cast: Jesse Plemons, Jason Segel, and Lily Collins, my wife's favorite actress right now, of Emily in Paris. You guys did all this in COVID. And like literally, that was a big part of what you were trying to put together, was what can we do in COVID? How did you guys put together this entire thing this last year, right? When COVID, you couldn't come to my wedding because of COVID. You did a whole film, and you guys are writing on Zoom. You guys are workshopping on Zoom. You're shooting. Some of you are there. Some of you are not there. We're doing literally, I'm reading you guys are walking around the house. 2 of you are there in mass. The other 2 are at home. Like, how the hell was it doing a whole film during COVID?
It was wild. My writing partner, Charlie, who goes on to direct a lot of the stuff that I write, well, all the stuff that I've written. We were set to shoot a movie in June of 2020, and then obviously the pandemic hit, and that sort of screeched the brakes on everything. And then I believe Jason Segel had something, like the whole world was on pause basically, and we got it. Myself, Andy, Charlie, Jason, we're all friends. One morning we got a text from Jason, and it was basically, let's all hop on a Zoom. I think I have an idea, something that's super small, something that maybe we could all do safely if it's possible, and something that sort of just stay creative in these uncertain times. And so we hopped on a Zoom, and we liked the initial idea, which ended up being kind of the loose premise of Windfall. We beefed it up and beat it out from that point on. And we spent 4 months, the 4 of us, breaking the story, or a couple months breaking the story. And then Andy and I went off to write it. That was like, again, end of March, beginning of April 2020. We had a script. I think Andy and I had a script, God, I want to say by September of 2020. And then we were shooting the movie. Then we were shooting the movie February 2021. So it came together super fast, but it was pre-vaccine, with the time, everything was still really rocky. But it was a way for us to sort of tell a small story, stay creative, and do it safely. And it ended up, it was wild the way that it came together, but it was a lot of fun. It was other than just the act of like having something to do from a work standpoint, just hopping on a Zoom for 4 hours a day, whether it was Andy and I writing or the four of us breaking the story, it felt like you were just hanging out with friends that you couldn't see. So it was a great distraction from what was going on at the world at that time.
The rest of the world was busy consuming everything that was on Netflix, binge watching Ozark and
every
Tiger
bit of
King.
alcohol they could drink. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gargling with formaldehyde after a while just to get a buzz. I mean, it was driving everybody crazy. It strikes me, Windfall, I didn't get a chance to see any capsulization about, we see the cast and don't really know what the movie's about, but being a degenerate gambler, I'm assuming that it involved making some kind of a score. I mean, am I even close to that? I was just in Atlantic City, yeah.
In a way, you are close to it. Yeah, I mean, the basic premise is that Jason plays a character who is breaking into a tech billionaire's house because he knows that it's one of his many houses. He knows that he's not going to be there. He's never there. And he wants to just sort of get what he can get, small little rinky-dink stuff, maybe a watch, maybe some cash, and just get out of there. And then all of a sudden, the tech billionaire and his wife show up unannounced in a surprise visit. And from that point on, the stakes keep snowballing, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a throwback to sort of like 50s and 60s film noir set in very modern times. And it hopefully builds to a very sort of explosive kind of confrontation, which obviously I don't want to spoil. But I think it's really exciting. I'm really proud of it. Everybody did such a good job. All the actors, it's really special.
So this is your third film. One I Love is sort of like this in a sense that it's one set. They get to a house, and that's where a lot of it's shot. The Discovery is a little different. It's all over the place. A lot more characters. What's the difference between doing a film as a writer and also you're still an executive producer? You're involved in how it gets done. What's the difference between something with one set, something with more characters, more difficult, easier? Like, how do you find, would you rather do something like this, something bigger, or just what are the differences?
Without getting into like the nitty gritty of screenwriting, because I imagine your listeners don't care that much about it. What was super interesting about The One I Love, our first movie, and this one, is that we built the story and the script around the resources we already had available to us, as opposed to going out trying to find it. So like there's a scene in Windfall that takes place in a sauna. The four of us would never have come up with that idea had we not known there was a sauna on the property. So we really utilized the resources we had available to us, and we sort of reversed engineered a script based on that. And sort of what you said about Windfall taking place at one location, that was always kind of sorry, the sun is literally rising on me right now. I apologize. This is West Coast.
You need a lighting technician.
The idea was always to sort of capture that feeling that we were all feeling when we wrote it, which was this is taking place. The movie's not about the pandemic, obviously. There's no mention of COVID. Nobody's wearing masks. But that sort of feeling that you don't even know if you feel safe in your own house because of the uncertainty that's going on outside. And this was the way that we told that story. It's kind of our version of what it felt like in the early days of the pandemic without ever mentioning the pandemic. That was always kind of part of the idea.
How sensitive as a screenwriter are you to the way the actors deliver the lines that you wrote?
When you have Lily Collins, Jesse Plemons, and Jason Segel delivering those lines, you get on board quickly and you get out of the way, because they'll come up with stuff that's better than you imagined in your head. They'll add their own twist to it. It's basically they're giving you a gift. So if I'm sensitive at all, I'm sensitive because I can't believe this is actually happening.
Now, is that an approach that you evolved into, or did you feel that way when you're making your first film also?
No, because I've been really lucky with cast in the 3 movies that we made. The only time that I felt that way was one of my first short films that Lubie starred in. And
was that his bar mitzvah movie? You were filming that? That's how you got your start?
When he didn't say the lines properly, I got really upset. But other than that,
you read this shit like 12 times.
Well, I mean, that's the way I feel whenever he interjects anything into the shows that we do, and it's 12 years of putting up with this.
He starred in one of my film school short films. He was in it, and he starred in it.
As what? What would you cast Lubie as?
He was a guy
A
failing.
miserly Jew. I mean, what would it be?
He was a guy who failed at trying to get a girl to take notice in him, and
Well,
he danced. He
that's
danced around a
typecasting.
stripper pole. He
Yeah.
danced around a stripper pole. I have this footage somewhere.
Where is it? I actually
Yeah,
want
please. I mean, if it shows up, what if we ever make it big with this thing? And then
And
next
just
thing you know, this film pops up of Lubie doing lewd and performing a lot of insidious behavior.
Yeah, it was. I got to find it.
You still have it.
Well, you'll be worth a piece of whatever we make from now on, which I would imagine the Netflix check is fairly substantial by compared to the daily pay that we make here on Ion Channel. All right, so was Lubie any kind of an athlete? Because he claims that he was on the bowling team in high school, averaged 200,
High school.
like he was freaking Don Carter, and then. He says he was like a functional second baseman and a defensive stalwart on the basketball courts. Is that all bullshit, Jason Later?
Justin Later.
Yes,
Justin Later, yeah. Why am I saying Jason? Sorry.
If he's saying that, it absolutely is. I've never heard that. I've never seen that. I've seen him bowl at Don Carter's.
Yeah.
But no, I knew he loved to talk about sports passionately. Yeah. And he'd get in fights, and I would instigate fights between him and his brother, and just sit back and watch the show. But no, I don't remember him ever suiting up in any sort of uniform. No, I don't. Maybe on Halloween.
All right. I love the typecasting in your first film. Oh, my God. And what's great about this, and it's been terrific talking to you, Justin, and even reminiscing about Lubie a little bit, is that I'm sure out of all the guys in film school, very few probably end up doing what you're doing. It's like my brother always says to me, you always wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and nobody ends up doing what they set out to do. So, that's great stuff for you, and congratulations on your success. Windfall, it's available now, right, on Netflix?
Yeah, it's there now. Go check it out.
All right, we're going to do that. We'll check it out for sure. And thanks so much for joining us here and getting up early with us. How do you like paying $6 for gas out there in LA?
Oh God.
I drive a Prius, so and for the past couple of weeks, I haven't had to drive very far, so I haven't hit that $6 mark, but I know it's coming. I have a quarter of a tank left, so it's about to hit me.
All right. Well, good luck with that, and maybe Joe B will do something about that before some more time passes. Thanks for being with us here on the Defo Show. All right, we're coming back with more.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
Here's the snap. Mahomes running to his right. Look out. He may run. Mahomes directed. Goes toward the end down. Batted intercepted. Picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world, and we still have 1:33 to go. Devin White, what a great second season. The All-American from LSU. Rookie of the year a year ago. And White, 13 tackles, 4 assists, 9 solos, and a pick in the end zone. That's it for KC. Bucks are the Super Bowl champs. They can't stop the clock. There will be no repeat. The kingdom will go home sad, and the Buccaneer Nation will celebrate. And I want to hear cannons. Bucks win the Super Bowl 55. Tom Brady engineers the offense. The Buccaneers score late in the first half, early in the second half. And there the cannons come. Fire them. Keep on firing them. Keep on firing them.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo joined by Lubie on The Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, a Degenerate Friday here on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest and Mike Lubitz. And I had the pleasure of meeting this man. I want to say had to be very early 90s, 90, 91, somewhere in that area. And I was doing a UM baseball game with the late, great Sonny Hirsch. And in the booth adjoining us, of course, which was right behind home plate there in the house position, what was the great voice of the Seminoles, Gene Deckerhoff. And I remember, Sonny introduced me to Gene, and I was like, wow, the tremendous reverence I had for this man, as you could hear there in his call of the Bucs Super Bowl championship. Just immediately identifiable, like Mel Allen was to me as a kid. As soon as you hear the voice, you know what game you're listening to. Longtime voice of the Seminoles. Gino, welcome to the show. Say it ain't so, Gino. Say it ain't so. You're not really hanging it up as the voice of the Seminoles, are you?
Well, I'm sort of, hey, Jeff, I'm sort of slowing down. That's the way I describe it.
Yeah.
20-game schedule is a lot easier than 32 basketball games, a dozen football games, and 24 talk shows on TV. I'm just slowing down, and this is a great year to be a Buccaneer announcer, and I look forward to broadcasting another Super Bowl. You think I was a little excited when Devin White picked off that pass? I got a little fired up. I got as excited as Lubie gets excited. Doing a radio show. I mean, it's incredible. But Defo and Lubie, what a great feeling to broadcast a championship game, a Super Bowl, and know that you've got that thing won, a dominating performance. And I thought that the Bucs were going to repeat last year. We did not. Something about the L.A. Rams, since we put a 50-burger on them out in L.A. With Jameis Winston about 4 years ago. We haven't been able to beat them since. So we'll see if we get them at home this year on a very attractive home Buccaneer schedule. The Bucs are ready to make another run. Tom Brady comes out of retirement. I'm going to stay retired with Florida State, but got another year with the Bucs and see what happens after that. I'd like to be broadcasting a game in early February of 2023, to be honest with you. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Miami Hurricanes. Big game tonight. Coach Lange's got them going. And I'll tell you this, Florida State beat Miami by 1 point twice. I don't know how we did it. I'll tell you what, Miami may be the Cinderella team of this NCAA final, Sweet 16.
It's nice to see. And I think it was sort of a cheesy, questionable foul call in that first game at Florida State. I don't know how you saw that one, but naturally, anybody that was rooting for the Hurricanes was thinking, you don't get that call at the park, Gene Deckerhoff. I don't know if that was part of your commentary on that one, but how many years was it altogether at Florida State? And now the announcement came out, and Lubie, I'm glad he jumped on this because we love you, Gino, and you've always been great with us over the years, and it's always a thrill to talk to you. And one of my favorite announcers, and the number one guy in the state of Florida for many, many years, award recipient, and deservedly so. And nobody could figure out how you did this insane schedule. You've explained it to us a few times, doing both the Bucs and the Seminoles. But how many years altogether with the Seminoles, and how tough of a decision was it to say, okay, that's it. This is going to be the end?
It was tough, a very tough decision to make. And my first broadcast of a Florida State sports event was in November of 1974, when I broadcast from Tiny Tully Gym, a basketball game with Hugh Durham as our head coach. And Ed Littler and I split play-by-play responsibilities that season. In 1975-76 season, I was the lone announcer, and I think I did solo for about 4 years. Then we added an analyst to the broadcast, and the rest is history. 1,324 basketball games. That's a
wow.
Hey, when I started doing basketball, hey, Defo, when I started doing basketball at Florida State, you and I were young.
I was young when I met you, and look what happened to me. You still look the same. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, but
that's the first thing. yeah.
1979, I began broadcasting Florida State football games, and we went 11-0 that year and played the Orange Bowl, first major bowl game. And the irony here is that back in the day, we could not broadcast the Orange Bowl. I did the sidelines for Mutual Network national broadcast, and I did the same thing the following year. We played back-to-back Orange Bowls against Oklahoma, almost beat J.C. Watts and the Sooners in that second game, played in 1980. On the sideline, JC got knocked out. I mean, he couldn't get up. And the trainer and the doctors telling Coach Barry Switzer he's not going to play anymore. In a miraculous recovery, he came back in the fourth quarter, and they were a wishbone team that ran. And son of a gun, he started throwing the ball. They threw a touchdown pass and a two-point conversion to break our hearts. But, those were the first 2 years, 79 and 80, of broadcasting Florida State football. And it was a great run. Bobby Bowden is and always will be the greatest coach, in my opinion. And not only what he did on the field and victories and bowl victories and consecutive winning seasons, but just the man that he was. And I think about him every day. And I sent a note to Ann Bowden just before the announcement that I was retiring to let her know that we love Coach Bowden and we love Ann Bowden and what they did for this university. So I'll throw that out there for my great Seminole fans in the South Florida area. Never forget Bobby Bowden. You can forget Gino, but never forget Bobby.
I don't think we're forgetting Gino, that's for sure. A Hall of Fame voice of Florida State sports for nearly 46 years, 43 years, the voice of Florida State. Myself and a generation don't know Florida State without Gene Deckerhoff, and I don't even know how we're going. I literally called you to say, what the hell are you doing? Where are you going? What are we going to do without you? What are some of your favorite moments? I know they won 3 titles while you were there, and they flirted with titles for 2 decades, if not 3 decades. What are some of your favorite moments of Florida State athletics overall? Because, again, you do basketball and you do baseball as well.
Well, favorite moments, there are so many, but the catch by Kelvin Benjamin is number 1 on my list right now to beat Auburn with less than 20 seconds to go in the BCS National Championship game played out of the Rose Bowl. The second, you got to put the Punt-Ruski in there somewhere. Bobby Bowden draws up a play on a napkin. They execute it. So that fell from number 1 to number 2. Then Warwick Dunn catching a touchdown pass on 3rd down and 10 from the Seminole 29, I believe it was. And we call it the separation play because on the broadcast, there's a guy that's got an angle and maybe tackle him around the 35-yard line. And he separated, just put in an extra gear and separated. Rock Preston's 3-2-1 touchdown to tie the game or set up the tying point after touchdown to tie the Florida Gators in the famous choke and doke. That's number 4. And the list goes on. I even, Kermit Whitfield's 100-yard kickoff return that gave Florida State a chance to beat Auburn. That's in the top 5. And by the way, number 12.5 is Scott Bentley, our kicker, on a point after touchdown try against Clemson. We had him shut out, and the point after is blocked. And the defensive back scoops up the ball, and he's going the other way, and he's going to spoil the shutout bid. And somehow, some way, a kicker from Colorado chases down a defensive back and tackles him at midfield. And Clemson is shut out by the Florida. I got to add that one in there somewhere. That'll always be one of my favorite. Chris Wakey to Snoop Menace. Casey Weldon to Lawrence Dawsey. 2 98, 99-yard touchdown throws against the Florida Gators. Those are memories that I'll never forget. We had some great games. Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Florida, Florida State, Clemson. I mean, some just great football games. And I had the privilege, the distinct privilege, to be able to broadcast those games. And they're etched in my memory. And hopefully another 10 years, my memory will be as sharp as Defoe's, and I'll be able to remember those.
I don't know if I would characterize my memory as sharp right now. I need a sharp object to stab myself every time I blank on a name. But no one will forget, as Lubie said, the name of Gene Deckerhoff when it comes to broadcasting here, and longtime voice of the Florida State Seminoles. Still going to be the voice of the Buccaneers. Now, Brady coming out of retirement, was that the reason that you decided to stay on with the Bucs? Because you said you wanted to scale it back. Several folks have asked me that, and I said, "No, that did not play into the equation. It was a matter of a number of events to broadcast, and the events were cut basically by about 70%. And I look forward to. I would call it semi-retirement, but
in this business, you have to almost want to be a perfectionist. You want to work hard to tell the story and deliver the broadcast play by play. And to be honest with you, I'll have more time to prepare for the Buccaneer games. Had I made this decision to say Florida State and not Bucs, I'd had more time to prepare because Lubie and Defo, I don't know what it is about the profession, but I have never broadcast the perfect game. But sometime before I hang up the microphone completely, I would love to broadcast a perfect game. So that's my ambition, and that's what I'm going to strive for this year. And if the good Lord willing, if it goes another year, so be it. But I'd love, before I hang it up, to broadcast the perfect game. I don't know if that's possible.
Well, I mean, if anybody could do it, if you haven't done it a zillion times already, then it would be you, Gene Deckerhoff. All right, we wish you all the luck in the world. We loved every minute of all of the things that you did at Florida State, including our many times of being able to go back and forth about a Florida State game or just listen to a broadcast that you were doing. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you would agree. Just one final thing, if you don't mind, Gino. Was the key to Bobby Bowden's recruiting success the fact that he had an iron cast stomach and was able to and did he really consume a lot of Mama's meatloaf during the time that he was coaching the Florida State Seminoles?
Yes, and yes, absolutely. I don't know about the iron stomach. I don't know about the iron stomach, but he had some lining in there that most of us don't have.
Great way to close this out, Gino. All of the luck in the world to you in all of your future endeavors, and enjoy the time off there from Florida State. We loved having you on every show, and we'll continue to have you on, of course, for as long as we have a platform. And thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah. All right, go Canes tonight. Now beat Iowa State.
Yeah, we're all in. Thanks, Gene.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Thanks so much, Gino. Gene Deckerhoff, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, Lubie, I mean, who replaces Gino? That's not.
Well, what's crazy is he's hanging up now. He's not doing like a retirement tour. Like literally, their spring game's the last game, and the spring game's in 2 weeks. So I don't know how you do. He must have told them ahead of time or something, because that's sort of a whirlwind. Like he's done their game for 43 years. So like, I don't know what you do with that.
Wow. Yeah, no, I met Gino, I want to say it was like 1990, 91, somewhere in there for the first time. And I was doing a ball game in the booth next to him with Sonny Hirsch. We were doing a baseball game. And I believe that those were the teams that had like Paul Wilson.
Yep,
squads. They also have J.D. Drew on. Was J.D. Drew on that same team as Paul Wilson? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that team was squatted. Yep.
We couldn't possibly ask this of Gino as he's announcing his retirement here, but how did Mike Martin never win a national championship? It's like, how did that FSU golf coach not win a national championship, an NCAA title, when he had like Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger on the team?
Yep. Yep.
Right? You could win the Ryder Cup with these guys, but you couldn't win an NCAA championship? Get out of here, man. How did that guy keep his job? All right, the professor coming up next. He'll have the big board. And, of course, he did go 7-0 the first day. He handed me 7 winners last Thursday in the NCAA tournament. And did I bet any of them? And the answer to that is, unfortunately, no. And they continue to crush it over the weekend. We told you the professor was dynamite on college basketball. That's really his game, and he's on it right now. So we'll have some selections for you from the remaining games that are on the slate tonight, and possible future matchups as everybody's bracket has been destroyed. Mustang found an old picture of me where somebody asked me how I was doing with my bracket, and I literally put a plastic bag over my head. And it was like the best description, I think, of where everybody's at so far this year. So we'll come back with the professor here on the Defo Show on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. Thanks to Gene Deckerhoff for joining us here. Always enjoyed him, man. I mean, what a gentleman. He really was. I mean, this was already an established, big-time broadcaster, meaning a little schmanky guy like me. And he couldn't have been any, more personable about the whole thing and more helpful and anything you need type of guy. And he meant it. Which is good. A lot of guys tell you, hey, anything you need, Lubie.
Yeah.
And, you need something. They say, hey, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They don't want to know you anymore. All right, coming back with the professor and the Gambling Gourmet going to be with us. A Degenerate Friday continues here on Ion Channel on the Defo Show in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:09. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
How many gamblers did I bail out last weekend with my game of the year? A $100 bettor made $10,000. A $500 bettor made $50,000. Well, I had 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games.
I believe.
We now return to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and this has become possibly the hottest segment in all of video and audio streaming, and that would be the Professor's Big Board. And we welcome the Professor to the program. And it looks to be a substantially richer professor, because the professor was absolutely nailing it all weekend long with the NCAA tournament. He told you the guy was good. Professor, how are you, and how much wealthier are you at this point, or can you address that due to certain IRS considerations?
Well, we know Florida's a state full of rats because of the Calvin Ridley situation, so we won't be talking about that on air.
No, I mean, you were on fire. I asked your advice on a couple of games. I had already made a losing parlay, as you would imagine, where I used Loyola of Chicago on the advice of some guy that I think was part of that whole Musburger mess. And then also I played, I had Vermont in this parlay, and 2 other losers. One was Loyola of Chicago. Did Sister Jean roll that wheelchair off the Golden Gate Bridge or something? I mean, what happened there?
Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. She lived a good life, though. 104.
Story in college basketball I'm almost as sick of as I am of Ratface. It's definitely Sister Jean. So while we're getting rid of him, she can go ahead and cash in her chips too, as far as I'm concerned.
How happy were you early in that game last night, where Texas Tech gets 3 early steals and converts them all with just absolutely flamboyant dunks, and Coach K is scrambling to get a timeout, and it looked like he was done, and they came back and win in that ball game.
Well, since as I have no principles, I actually took Duke. So at that particular moment, I was not particularly happy, but it worked out at the end.
Wait a minute. Back up a second here.
I have no principles.
You took Duke?
Yes.
Gambler.
To be clear, I don't like Texas Tech very much either. They're a team they're like the Riley Knicks. They commit fouls like every 30 seconds and dare the refs to stop them. And they've been really annoying in the tournament for like 4 years in a row doing that. So I'm not a huge fan of theirs either. And honestly, when you play that kind of style against Duke, you got to assume Duke's going to shoot a lot of free throws, particularly under these circumstances. So yeah, I took Duke.
All right. Very good. All right. Let's go back to day one. The professor, I asked him, sent him a text. I said, do you like anything? And I was already well immersed and entrenched in my horse racing degeneracy. So very unlikely that I would get up and leave my seat there and walk into the sports book and start betting games. I already had my parlay, which I thought involved games that were all taking place that first day. But the truth was, one was like the last game that night, and then the other 2 were the next day. So that was enough for
So
me.
you had your action. I mean, honestly, I didn't know that the sports and race books are in different venues, but I wouldn't have bothered to send you because once you're in the race book, I know you're not leaving.
Yeah, you're
well,
done.
they did have a sports book there. You know what? In Atlantic
The
City
only way
right
you're
now,
leaving in that scenario is either you need to go to the ATM or you need to go to the ATM for Mustang. So
Yeah, exactly.
but the Mustang, ended up doing all right in the
nice.
overall equation. Yeah, came back with like a check from Harris, if you can imagine that, a check. But that wasn't established at that time. So I was looking, to maybe make a small wager on the tournament. I'm not a huge sports bettor, and I was thinking I'll have a little fun with this thing. So I asked the professor to send me some games. He sends me 7 games, and they all win.
All hit.
All win. Every single one of them. Now, you're not inclined to parlay these sort of things, but I would imagine just doing the mathematical extrapolations on this, that would have left you with a small fortune had you played these games all on the money line.
I mean, we did play Richmond on the money line, and that left me with a small fortune. But yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
No, I'm not going to do a 17 parlay. That's
He's not even
That's what
entertained.
these guys are doing, though, when they're lining up at the sports book.
Yeah, I know, and they're idiots. Like, honestly, they're not even idiots. They're kids. Like, this is a new thing with the kids where they want to bet like $10 or $20 and try to score 500 or $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever. So they tie together all these low stakes parlays, and then when the one in 100,000 of them hits, they post it over Twitter, and everybody's like, "Ooh, he's a guru. He knows what he's done." Again, to me, if you're going to do that kind of stuff, particularly at numbers like 7 teams or more, like play the lottery. Like your odds are about the same.
Yeah, but anyway, that was great. So, and you continued that run pretty much over the weekend, or the entire weekend?
We Friday and Saturday we went 500 each day, and then came back Sunday and had another big day. So didn't lose much, just lost on the juice on Friday and Saturday, and then came back Sunday and had another big day. So very profitable weekend, but it was mostly made on 2 days. So, and then
and
last night
we
were 3-0, but then I decided I had to add Arizona at the last second, just because me, I hate public dogs, and everybody in the world was on Houston. So once in a while it goes wrong on you. So 3-1 last night, but I'm not unhappy about it.
All right, and it didn't deter you, all of this activity and success from composing yet another edition of the Professor's Big Board?
I'm not saying I put a lot of work into it, but yeah, we have one.
All right, very good. Don't pass out on us. I mean, you're hitting like crazy. I mean, what if all of a sudden the man's on the hottest streak of his life, and that's it? But that's the absolute fickle nature of the gods of gambling, and the entire degenerate proposition. All right, big board. I don't know where you're going with this one. I know you got in on a little Tom Brady last week, which, that's like the A material, no question about it for the professor. But where are you going this week?
Do we want to do that first, or we want to do some picks here first?
Let's go to the big board, and we'll lay some picks out.
Okay.
Although, you know what? Let's put the picks in there first, because the people will be in hysterics after that, and they won't be able to, actually digest who it is that you're selecting. So these are for tonight's games.
Yes, so we're taking 2 games tonight. That's Kansas minus 7.5 over Providence. I just don't think Providence got the offense to stick with Kansas. I think this will be more than a bit of a blowout, and Kansas played really well the first 2 rounds. The score against Creighton was a little closer than it should be, but they were in control of the game the whole game. And then UCLA minus 2 over North Carolina. North Carolina's been phenomenally lucky. Probably should not have gotten Bass last game. I know Lubie was very upset that they kicked his man Brady Manick out of the game because got a little crush on that guy who looks like he belonged at the January 6th rally. But I think absolutely UCLA takes this one away. So UCLA minus 2, Kansas minus 7 and a hook. Those are our 2 tonight. And then tomorrow we're taking Villanova plus 2.5 over Houston. I'm still not a believer in Houston. And Nova, at this point, I think Nova's probably my pick to win it all. They're playing really well right now, as long as they stay healthy. And certainly had a
that Dizzy
scary moment
Gillespie guy, though,
Yeah.
he suffered what looked like it could have been an injury that maybe exacerbates itself over the next day or so.
Certainly had a scary moment, so you're going to have to watch that injury. So we'll see.
All right, very good. So 3 selections here from the professor. And now it's time. Line up the marquee here, the professor's big board for this edition of Degenerate Friday.
Well, Defo, as somebody who's been known to say some controversial things from time to time, I'm not sure how I feel about the whole cancel culture movement. Like, it's a little weird to me. Like, they're trying to go after comedians for telling jokes.
Yeah.
They're trying to go after this group and that group. It's a little weird. But every once in a while, people do something that means you absolutely should be canceled. And some companies have done that with their commercials during this NCAA tournament. So that's what today's big board is all about.
Oh, Jesus.
And
all right,
we have
big board from the professor.
The big board of company canceling commercials, or companies that deserve to be canceled for their commercials, most notably. And that's our big board today.
All right, let's go ahead and hit it.
This does not want to focus.
Yeah, your camera's being funny.
There you go. Big board of company canceling commercials. The professor, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, number 5. This is a new one, just added last night because I saw the commercial for the first time. I don't know if you've seen this Nissan Race to the Heisman House featuring all the mascots, and this is a mascot we probably should have included in our big board of horrifying mascots a few weeks. But I don't know if you've seen this commercial where all the mascots are driving cars and the Georgia Bulldog's driving real fast and pulls right by this mascot. But Nissan gave the keys to Left Tiger. And that is such a bad decision that I can't imagine buying a Nissan product, because if they're making these kind of decisions in the factory, God only knows what's going to happen. Look at this thing. Look at its eyes. Clearly jaundiced. The only time you see a tiger that skinny is when it's about to die. And this thing has been that skinny for like 40 years. Look at the folds around its neck. This thing only being kept alive by meth at this point. And again, when you hand him the keys, one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to go sell your car for meth money, or he's already gotten his meth for the day and he's going to do something reckless behind the wheel. It's just a terrible decision on the part of Nissan. I can't imagine what they were thinking, saying, yeah, let's let this thing drive one of our trucks in like a simulated race against other mascots. That seems like a responsible idea to be showing America. So that's number 5.
Shows up number 5 on the professor's big board of cancel commercial culture, or whatever that was.
Canceling company commercials.
Cancel company commercials. Okay, and number 5. Number 4.
Number 4, and this is one I think pretty obvious, and that's rat face for AT&T. Honestly, I don't like AT&T. I don't like their phone service. I've had Verizon for years, and I'm sticking with it. I'm not a fan of AT&T. But as much as I don't like Lily, can you imagine dealing with this face while he tries to get you to send an attachment on his email because he can't do it himself? Having to deal with this jerk off as he brings his old man phone and its old man phone problems every day. Like, he's probably in the store every day. Like, Justice Winslow sent me a video and I can't download it on my iPhone. Help me. And if you don't help me, I'm going to give you that sneering growl that I give every referee, because I'm an old man and I don't understand technology.
Yeah, to bring Justice Winslow into the equation there, it's an especially sore subject for Lubie.
He knows.
I'm aware.
He knows.
I mean, that one bothers me a little bit. I would have to say, very appropriate to have that. And if that's only number 4, then I would imagine this list only gets more and more spectacular.
Number 3 brings out a very interesting corporate question, Defo, and that is, how do you have your spokesman be a literal child molester and then downgrade from there? The Subway people found an answer by bringing in Bill Belichick and Tom Brady to follow Jared, who again is a child molester.
Yes.
Of course, Brady and Belichick are used to having their checks signed by a sex offender. So probably not really
Actually
that
true.
big a deal for them to go to Subway. It's the dishonesty that really bothers me here. Because,
Yeah.
okay, in the case of Belichick, he does look like a guy you could see buying a meatball sub from the Subway in a gas station at
Yes.
like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Rumbling at the poor bastard, I want some extra onions.
Yeah.
With his Sling Blade voice. But come on, Tom Brady. Like, does anybody believe you're eating at Subway? You're a guy who will not buy from Whole Foods because your avocados are too close to the strawberries in the store. You really think anybody believes you're going to Subway for a freaking chicken avocado sandwich? Come on. Fuck out of here with that.
The other troubling thing,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the other troubling thing about that commercial is they had to be paying Brady a fortune by the second, because if you, and this, it bothers me every time I see it, for a different reason, obviously, than you, but because it's just a mere sight of Brady, and you go into convulsions. But they actually cut off him saying his name, because they were paying him by the second, I think. And he says, "I'm Tom Brady." And he doesn't even get out to the end of his name before they cut back to whoever the other guy was that they were paying nothing, like Steph Curry, to go ahead and host the ad.
Again, it's very possible because nobody believes he would ever eat there. It's all crap.
Like, no, quick.
Like, if you won't eat real ice cream, you have to eat avocado ice cream to stay healthy on the occasion. Do you have ice cream? Do you really think Tom Brady's going in for a freaking BMT with that mystery meat they serve at Subway?
That is true. That is
Very
true.
solid point
again,
there, Professor.
With
Yeah.
Belichick, I can see it. I can see Belichick, going in for the cheesesteak made out of not cow that they serve at Subway. But Brady, not so much.
Yeah.
That was number 3.
Serena, too. I don't think Serena's
Serena.
rolling in there and
Serena.
having herself like a turkey sandwich. That's for sure. All right, that's number 3. Subway, Tom Brady.
Number 2, Defo.
Yeah.
It's fortunately not a product I would endorse to begin with. But the worst casting decision in the history of casting decisions, and makes me want to see the company go absolutely out of business, and that is Corona Beer casting Christian Laettner for their commercials. What the hell is wrong with you?
Again, a Duke tie-in.
A lot of
Frankly,
people
yeah.
are bitching about Sue Bird being in this commercial because they don't know who Sue Bird is. At
Yeah.
least Sue Bird has been somewhat relevant for the last 30 years. Christian Laettner, you're casting a guy who played college basketball 30 years ago. 75% of the people watching the commercial have no idea who the hell he is because he didn't do anything of note in the NBA. And the 25% that do know who he is hate him like poison. You could literally see the casting director like going down a list and be like, "Oh, this guy's an All-American, and he has a 30 for 30 all about him." Didn't look up the title of the 30 for 30 because if he had, you would know he got a 30 for 30 because everybody in America hated him for 4 years.
I don't think you can dispute that, Professor.
And I'm not necessarily Mr. Social Movement, but when they throw around terms like white mediocrity, Christian Laettner is the name that immediately pops into my mind.
It's cancel culture material right there. White mediocrity.
White mediocrity.
All right.
Which is what we all seem to strive towards.
That was 2.
That's great.
That was
All right,
2. And
number one. Yeah.
And I know we've talked about trying to hook up with a betting app, but there's one we probably shouldn't hook up with. I don't know if you're aware of this, but at the beginning of the year, WinBet announced, despite a huge initial investment, over $1 billion to get in, I think 6 or 7 markets, including New York and Las Vegas. They announced they were holding, quote unquote, a fire sale and looking for only $500 million after investing more than $1 billion for their digital products. And you might scratch your head and go, like, 6 months in, how the hell did that happen so fast? And it's easy answer, because who did WinBet hire not only to star in, but direct their commercials? Yep, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. That's great.
I knew somehow you would work that in. Yeah.
There it is.
An alcoholic with a gambling problem. That's who I want. Look, I don't really
Look where they came
understand.
from.
I don't really understand any of these celebrity commercials because, like, I don't
Yeah.
want to
They're not
bet like
using it.
Jamie. I don't want to bet like Jamie Foxx bets. I don't care what Jamie
Yeah.
Foxx does for
Yeah, like who cares?
Caesars or whoever it is. And I
Selma
like
Hayek.
I like JB Smoove, but I'm not likely to bet his app just because JB Smoove is in it. But if you're gonna hire a celebrity people like, not a celebrity people despise, like they despise Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And again, drive your company's $1 billion investment underwater in less than a year. Congrats, Ben. Great job.
That's great.
That was the big board of company canceling commercials, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Did I get that right, Professor?
Yes, you did.
All right, excellent. I mean, I don't know how you do it week after week. Just a phenomenal job. So the plays tonight are once again, Professor. Who are we taking? We're laying some points with both teams, right?
UCLA -2 and Kansas -7.5.
And then you already have an opinion on the one of the matchups tomorrow. You think Houston is going
we like
down?
Villanova. We like Villanova plus a 2.5. For the life of me, people have fallen in love with this Houston team, and I mean, I sort of get it. Obviously, they've had a lot of success in the tournament over the last 2 years, but not, in my opinion, that elite a program. And as much as people are sort of in love with Kelvin Sampson right now, who's better than Jay Wright? I mean, like, who's better than Jay Wright in the tournament?
It's one thing, and this is kind of, I mean, it would mean, something to only a very limited number of people, but you are one of them, Professor. Does Jay Wright not bear a physical resemblance to a guy that you never actually came to a position of working for this guy because he thought, why would I want to have a guy on my staff that knew anything about sports? But Steve Lappa, one-time general manager of a radio station that I was performing at, are they not almost a complete
Honestly,
reasonable
I only talked to him
facsimile?
on the phone a couple times. I never looked at him.
Oh, you never saw the guy? Okay.
That's an unflattering.
Every time I see Jay Wright, I get horrified about my days there at,
well, I can tell you, a lot of women like
850.
Jay Wright, so that speaks well for him looks-wise.
No, Lappa wasn't a bad-looking guy. He just, unfortunately, was like the dumbest smart guy I ever met in the business. So, but yeah, reasonable facsimile.
He's the kind of guy who would hire Ben Affleck to do his commercials.
He would think that was a stroke of genius, and he would have Krzyzewski. He would be honored to have Krzyzewski in his phone commercial. Demonstrating the fact that he has no idea, how to download an attachment, for God's sake. Even I can do that. Professor, brilliant as always. Round of applause. I mean, 6 weeks in a row, you're getting all kinds of.
I think he's watched Ben Affleck until like 3 of the 6.
Brady seems to be.
Damn, I missed 3 weeks. That's not good.
Did you do it every week?
We've been there.
Ben Affleck in every week.
All right, we'll talk to you again next week.
Work harder.
Thanks, Professor. Always a pleasure. The Professor, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the Gambling Gourmet is coming up, and we're hoping the Gambling Gourmet does not do a top 5 this week. I want to put that out.
I think he's announced he won't, which is good.
Yeah,
because we don't look. The Professor just sets a bar.
Professor's got that game going there.
And every week it's creative. I give him credit. He does a topic that you would never even care about, and he makes me like, oh my God, he's right.
No, that's good stuff. That's good journalism, as they say.
Great. And then the mailman will do his gourmet stuff that none of us can do. He can make Skyline almost sound palatable.
Yeah. I came around a little bit on Skyline chili. I'm not as quick to condemn it as I was. As I said, would I go out of my way to go there? We'll get into this with the gourmet who dragged us into Skyline chili. But I think he has a far more risky wager on the table right now, and if we lose this bet, Lubie, we deserve to have to pay the freight.
We can't.
And I don't want you committing to putting up a piece of this because this is going to be about a nickel, I think.
I'll split it. Whatever you want.
This particular wager, yeah.
I know, like you said, and you in Jersey, you guys have said it forever. If you're going to gamble, bring the number one rule: bring your own money. So
bring your own money. Yes,
in
bring
on
your
this,
own money.
In on it. I'm owning that. I'm very confident in this.
None of this can you squeeze me a 20 type of stuff.
No, I'm in. I think Mayo's being very bitter from old past. I love him.
This is his problem. He has an issue with the CEO of the team.
Come on. They've done everything they can.
Claude Giroux, my friend. All right, we're not talking Florent Giroux. We're talking Claude Giroux. He's going to lace it up. I think he did for the first time last night. Didn't they play last night? Don't see how he
played.
did.
They won.
Didn't see how he did.
I didn't know if Giroux played. They talked about Giroux. I don't know if he played. I know the other two guys played and played well.
All right, back with the Gambling Gourmet here on the Defo Show.
Sir.
Don't forget about Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, Key Largo. Great spot. I'm hoping Brett Tusser, he's down there like all the way, went all the way south to Key West. But on the way back, Brett, let me suggest to you Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, Key Largo. Great food and drink, great atmosphere, always a great place to go. And we'll come back with Mike Mayo, who hasn't been down there yet. And I know he will be wowed. And he's very picky, this guy. You know, he has his opinion, and then that's it. It's very hard to influence him in another direction. But the Italian Fisherman Pizza, I think, will overwhelm him with the sensational concept and taste sensation that it is. All right, coming back with the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo in a moment. Now that. He scarfed down that skyline, didn't he, man? I mean, there was nothing up there. Did he lick the plate? I think he did. It's 8:35. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Now, a lot of people like to bet soccer. You are looking at the Euro.
I'm a soccer fan. I spent part of my junior year abroad at the London School of Economics and Political Science. How I ended up...
It's a little sophisticated for people that are on our show.
To be on
the School of Economics.
My career has taken strange...
Yes,
and mainly downward turns, but it's okay. I'm very.
You can live with it. Just be who you are. That's
I am living my best life.
Burying yourself with this show.
Betting my worst bets.
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, a Degenerate Friday. We always wrap things up with the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, who joins us now. And it's interesting because, you've been using this, and I think it's great, this food handicapping angle where you pick games based on the food that would be, indigenous or a characteristic of the city. Yeah. And, this one would have been, and I hope you didn't give this out to Jim Sarney yesterday, who loves soccer, which I'm not inclined to watch this or have any great deep-rooted interest in soccer, but my friend is a diehard fan of the Italian team, being from Tuscany, and he is also an accomplished chef, my friend Francesco, and you could not have foreseen North Macedonia, Mike Mayo, on the food handicapping angle, beating Italy in a soccer matchup, but if that was the approach that you used, you would have been buried as per usual. Which, how did we make out on all of those games last night in the eventuality? I know the first one didn't go so well on the food angle.
Well, first of all, I didn't. My microphone. There we go.
That always
Can
helps.
you hear me now?
Well, I mean, it helps to take the mic out of your ass, literally.
I was just a little concerned for Professor there. I didn't know whether I should call 911 or get him an oxygen tank. He was choking worse than Gonzaga last night. So I have a bottle of water just in case I have.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't see that as a choke job by Gonzaga. I just saw that as the natural attrition of what always happens with that team, and that they're not as great as everybody wants them to be. And people were talking about how they have an elite offense and elite defense, and I saw none of that in this ball game last night.
You're right. And boy, did I fuck up, because when I did the food handicapping angle
Yeah.
yesterday on the Lunchbox radio show, which I see that you're putting it on the under. I don't know what the over-under is on the
What's that?
No, you took a dig earlier.
Oh no,
in the day.
I was kidding around, Mike.
No, it's
Just kidding
okay.
around.
Look, I'm a realist, my friend, and I think just as the Panthers' playoff chances will be going down the drain, we'll see.
I mean, if you win this bet, you deserve to stick us with a nickel, or whatever the tab's going to be. Are we going to be 4 people there, or are you going to invite more if I lose?
Oh, if you lose, no, it'll be a foursome. Well, I'll get to bring a +1, or maybe Lubie will get to bring Shirley. Maybe it'll be 5 of us.
No, Lubie's not bringing any Shirley to this thing. He's lucky he's got an invitation at all.
This is
Let's not expand this. This is if I lose. If you would lose, of course, Mustang is in. She loves Anthony's Runway 84, and the bet is you have bet us dinner at Runway 84. That the Panthers, the Florida Panthers, would not win a single playoff series this year and keep with their whole record of ineptitude. And I believe this is all based on bitterness stemming from your 100%. Own personal feud with Doug Sifu, the relatively unknown and invisible CEO of the Florida Panther organization.
This is not personal. It's strictly business, although I do hate Sifu like poison. And I also don't have great warm feelings for Vinny Viola, even though he's a horse racing guy. And
and what is that? Where does that stem from?
Well, if you Google Vinny Viola and Donald Trump, you remember he was almost appointed the Secretary of the Army.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and he had to bail out on that, because what does it say if you if you have to bail out before you even get appointed by Trump because of your past? And look at the cast of rogue characters around him that actually made it into cabinet positions. So strictly,
didn't they make it big because they had some computer system that was like a split second ahead of the pace on trades?
It was called legal cheating. So,
yes,
that's
it's kind of like post-race punching. Yeah, where the tellers at Biscayne Kennel Club, remember, they were punching out trifecta tickets after the race was already over. And
posting. This is in the world, the microseconds, milliseconds of day trading and flash trading and institutional trading and all the games, the financial engineering that is now the backbone of the U.S. economy. And people get up in arms about Belichick and the professor gets crazy about Brady and Belichick because of the deflated ball thing. But these guys are rigging, talking about a rigged. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that. And we
just like to always get to the source of bitterness, and then of course, this now involves what potentially, looks to me like a very favorable wager on our end. Now you may win it; it's entirely possible, but it does seem like the odds are in our favor on this one.
Well, it does, but again, I'm just going, and this is not personal, strictly business. Even though I hate the leadership like poison, but the just going back off of past. Past performance is not an indication of future results, but there are certain cultures with certain teams that no matter what, no matter how good they look in the regular season, no matter what kind of all-star assemblage, and I don't care if they got what's his name, Florent Giroux or Inspector Clouseau, or that come playoff time, it's going to be
is a solid player. I don't know how he's done lately, but a couple of years ago, this guy was one of the big stars in the league.
Like Inspector Clouseau, he's going to be wandering around with a magnifying glass looking for a playoff win, because something goofy is going to happen. The goalie's going to end up being like Swiss cheese. Look, they've fallen on their face every time. And, like the culture here, even though it was great back in '96, that's a long time ago. It was a different era, different people, different arena, different everything. And, they haven't won a playoff series, I believe, this century. Is that correct?
They haven't been in that many playoff series.
Yeah, so they haven't won a playoff series this century. So I will go with that track record, because it's like the LA Clippers. Even when they looked like they were poised to win it all, did they win it all?
No.
Well, it goes back to your days on the city desk, where you're talking about, and the promise was, of course, if we get this arena, which it's a nice place there. I don't know. How much of a financial bloodbath is the city taking on that? The city of Sunrise, because the promise is always that get us the building. Yeah, get us the building, or it's Broward County, and we will win championships, and they haven't come close. I mean,
well, and not only that, it's like build us the arena, and then we'll have this, a revenue sharing. You know what the revenue share has worked out? And yeah, okay, the team does pay for its share of, I guess, the rent to repay the bonds and things like that. But in terms of profit sharing, and I haven't looked at it lately, but when I did it when I was on the city desk a while back, it went like 99.9% of the profits went to the team, and like 0.1% went to the county. It was
it's always a host job, yeah.
$140 million to the team and 300,000 to the county. So, like, if that's a public-private partnership, I want to be on the private side of that.
What wasn't your beef with Sifu over like funds that were supposed to be directed to help children with learning difficulties?
No,
it was that, and instead it went to getting a scoreboard. In the arena.
It's that every other year they come back with their helmets in their hands, crying poverty, and we need this and we need that. We need more from the county. We need more from the bed tax money and at that point, like, we need beach renourishment. Like, the sand is like drifting out, and the beach is what brings people to Broward County.
I got hit in the backyard with a wave just yesterday. Erosion? What's that?
So we've gone far afield. When it comes to the Panthers, I am completely a skeptic and a cynic.
It's a bold bet, though, on your part. It really is.
Again, and we'll see what happens, because I'd be happy to be proven wrong. I'd be happy if they win it.
No, you won't be happy, because you're going to get stuck with like a $500 tab.
That's all right, and we'll know, because again, they only have to win one playoff series for you guys to win.
That's
the bet.
it, and we can.
And they only have to lose the first one for me to win the bet, and we'll have it all done by May 15th, which is Mother's Day, which is going to be Runway 84's last day before they have a major renovation. So we are definitely going to have.
Can we get in there on the last day? I know you have connections with Anthony.
It won't be Mother's Day. We'll get in there that last weekend, and all right, we'll talk to Anthony and Vincenzo, and we'll get in there. And the bottom line.
Do we have to grease anybody at the door? I mean,
Vincenzo, I kind of messed up because I went for the first time in a while, and then I'm not familiar with the ins and the outs, and I left them hanging a little bit. But I'm gonna.
Do you have to throw that guy at 20 automatically when he seats you? Automatic.
No, at the end, and I should have done it at the end.
At the end.
And I messed up because I was a little over inebriated, and he was like, "Was everything okay?" And I was like,
"Oh no!" He followed you out to the parking lot. That's what we did to O.J. Simpson when he left us like a 5% tip at the Dharma Grove in Los Angeles.
I'll never get in there again. I gotta make amends for that. No, we're gonna get in there. We'll be fine. And the NHL playoffs start May 2nd, and the first round will conclude by
a 4-game sweep by the Panthers, and we're dining on the 10th. What are you talking about?
Fine. Hey, meanwhile, let's get back to my glory days. Or last night, and again, this whole food handling.
You ended up okay last night
in the NCAAs. I mean, I was a hero last week because I picked St. Peter's and Richmond, and just on the money line alone, I made out like a bandit, even though I don't actually bet these things.
What kind of food is indicative of a meal you would have in Richmond, Virginia, that would make you pick them? Or it was just remember, a state, yeah.
I remember going through Richmond at one time, and they have some good little small independent restaurants. They have a good, vibrant farm-to-table food scene, and I liked the vibe in Richmond, so I went with Richmond. Now, that was last week. On to this week, Defo, and last night, I messed up. Okay, so here's how I fucked up, because I went 3-1, which is pretty good.
That's excellent.
And I said yesterday on the lunchbox that in my imaginary playland of betting, it was going to be $100 on each of my picks for both the spread and the money line.
Okay,
I went 3-1 on the spread,
right?
Because again, my picks last night were Villanova, Duke, Houston, and Gonzaga. We don't want to talk about Gonzaga. Yeah. And I also said $100 on the spread, $100 on the money line. So it would be $800 outlay. And if you did that, tallied up at the end of the night, you would have gotten back $1,147 for
what's wrong with that?
A net profit of $347. And the thing I fucked up with Gonzaga is I'm talking about Seattle and throwing salmon in Pike Market.
Salmon sucks. That's what you screwed up. Salmon is the most overrated fish.
Very good. Heart healthy.
Yeah.
Omega-3 oils.
It's a bunch of BS.
But fact checker Jim Sarney pointed out Gonzaga is in Spokane, Washington.
There you go.
And I don't even know if it's pronounced Spokane or Spokane. It's all the way
I would
on
go
the
with Spokane. I mean, because didn't they have a minor league affiliate of some team on the East Coast that was very
Spokane
popular? Yeah, like the Mets or
rhymes
the
with
Yankees.
cocaine.
Yeah,
No, they
and
don't.
Spokane, it was like, yeah, they're farming them all the way to Spokane. This guy will never sniff the majors again.
Now they do have salmon in Spokane, I think, too, because there are rivers and streams and things like that. There's also decent food out there, but had I known that, and then
you're eating whale blubber when you're out in Spokane. What are you talking about, man?
No,
they have some good
whale
wine.
blubber.
Now
They
the
have good
Eastern Washington has become quite the food and wine
Yeah.
place now. There's really good wineries around that whole Eastern
That's
Washington area.
Yes.
But so I probably still would have stuck with Gonzaga. But
Arkansas,
then in the middle of the game when they were getting, when it looked pretty grim for them, I realized I should have gone in that matchup maybe with the betting racetrack angle of which college has the better racetracks / casinos.
Yeah.
And in that case, Arkansas near Oaklawn Park probably would have been better than Long Acres, which I think is long gone. Is that still
I
existence?
don't believe they're racing there anymore.
Yeah, no, they're gone.
I would say closed. I haven't seen a Long Acres race, and I would have noticed it because that is one thing about screen to screen. You're not discriminating at all about what level of track it is, what grade of track it is. It could be, the worst of all. You're betting Prairie Meadows if it's up on the screen.
Prairie Meadows, I've been to, and let me tell you,
what's that?
Frank,
Portland, Oregon, Prairie Meadows.
No, Portland Meadows was in Portland. That's no longer, but Prairie Meadows was.
Where's that?
Des Moines, Iowa, and I've been there.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, I was.
What
there
were you doing in Des Moines, Iowa? Trying to
story
figure out
on
the best baked potato,
kid
or
trying to break through
corn?
at NASCAR. There was a NASCAR race there, and I was trying to do. I actually was in Iowa for a NASCAR event, and I stopped in at Prairie Meadows, and I crushed it that night. Not only on
good
the
for you.
horses. But because you could also tell which ones were the the robbery jobs going on, and it was, but also
that's a good thing about Bush League tracks is that there's going to be a certain amount of thievery taking place at some point in time. And
there was shenanigans, and it was Pat Utter was nowhere around, but there was shenanigans, definitely. And they also had a poker room there, and I was kind of feasting on some of the.
Get out of here, man! You were
there,
taking down the money from those Iowa suckers who thought they knew the game because they were watching Sammy Faja on a World Series of Poker. Let that cigarette get all the way down to the filter before he dipped the ash.
Yeah, that was a good night. I think I left there. I left there with 6 sticks up my night at Prairie Meadows. So fond memories of that place as opposed to Atlantic City, but we don't even want to go there. You want to do the food handicap?
We want to do the food angle handicap in here on tonight's games. I mean, that's pretty good. You brought the people yesterday that tuned in to Mike Mayo's Lunchbox on the Odyssey radio app. And,
Winners News Network.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've had some winners on there. There's no question. I like the Vitamin Guy show. He's one of my favorites there. I think he checked out, but they're still running a show.
Steve Kane is still on the air.
Yes, and he may also be deceased, and he still has a show.
He's still broadcasting from the Great Beyond. I think he's
on the radio station. Yeah. So we have 4 on the slate tonight. You made us what 3:45 last night, Mayo, on the
3:45, 3:47. I had it at whatever. Depending.
Are you
going to
go with the standard 100 and 100? I mean, the mythical stick and a stick. Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to have to outlay $800, and hopefully at the end of the second night, you'll end up with more than a dime, and then it's a good night, right? But
all right. Well, let's start right here. I mean, Purdue and St. Peter's, and we know that St. Peter's is Jersey City, New Jersey. And Purdue, another one of those Midwestern schmenky places.
Indiana, and again, a Boilermaker is a drink, and that's what happens when you spend too much time in Indiana. Is you just start pounding, Scotch and whiskey followed by beer chasers.
Yeah.
That's what a Boilermaker is. They are not known for any food. And on the other hand, St. Peter's, who are now my all-time team because they made me a ton of money last week in my imaginary bankroll, because they were, I guess,
money line will be solid on this
plus
one.
1,400. I didn't even look at the money line tonight on this game.
It has to be big. The spread is large, 12 and a hook.
I could do that right now, or maybe Lubie, but NCAA tournament lines. But the bottom line is
it's 12 and a hook. Purdue is laying 12 and a hook.
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
money
but I'm,
line's
I'm looking
gonna
at the
has
money
to
lines.
be
Money
what?
lines.
Oh, I don't
Money
know
Like
what
four
you
to
think.
Here
one.
we go. Here we
Something
go.
like
I'm
that.
going to look it up right now, thanks to the magic of Google. It says the
Around
money line, they're plus 600. So you would
Oh
bet
wow,
100, you get
6 to
back
1.
7.
6 to
Yeah.
1, yeah.
So
Wow,
I'm going to
that
ride
game
them.
alone is key to your evening tonight. Then,
Of course. And again, because I'm getting 12 in a hook, I'm getting 6 to 1. So, maybe they'll just cover and it's a wash. But again, St. Peter's, Jersey City, New Jersey, right next to Manhattan, right next to Hoboken, New Jersey. And Hoboken is the birthplace of Frank Sinatra, has great Italian restaurants and pizza joints all up on that little stretch of, near Bayonne and Jersey City and Hoboken. So, I would rather have the Italian food of Northern Jersey than drinking all day and night in Indiana. So St. Peter's easy.
Again,
oh,
to the
that's
ace.
a good choice. I love the call there, and I like 6 to 1. And they're very confident. Their coach is going to become the coach at Seton Hall. By the way, I mean he's finished there. This Cinderella story ends possibly tonight with is it Shaheen Holloway? I believe
Yeah,
that's
it was
his
good.
first name,
Seton
Shaheen
Hall was
Holloway.
great in the late 90s.
Yeah, and he was a Seton Hall player. We talked to
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Feinstein, your buddy John Feinstein,
Yeah.
about this earlier in the week, and he was talking about how this guy was a big star, Seton Hall, and all the speculation has him going there right after the tournament is over. All right, UCLA, yeah, it's Los Angeles, and North Carolina. Well, what do you think there, Grambling Gourmet, on the food angle?
Well, it's pretty easy. I mean, even though I was, singing the praises of the Triangle's food scene in North
Yeah.
Carolina, that would be Durham, Raleigh, and the Chapel Hill. I'm just, the UCLA is in the heart of Western Los Angeles County there near Beverly Hills and Westwood. Unbelievably good food scene all over the place. Some of the best joints, Spago with Wolfgang Puck, the original Nobu Matsuhisa's place. Matsuhisa is near UCLA in a route. And again, I have to give up 2.5, 2 and a hook in the point spread and minus 135 on the money line. But I am going to take UCLA over the Tar Heels.
I think that's kind of an easy one to come to the conclusion. The Los Angeles food scene would be far superior to anything in that North Carolina triangle there. All right, Kansas and Providence. I'm thinking you would have to have a lean towards Providence on that one.
Yeah, I mean, when you go with, my, I guess, key indicator is Italian food, and you've been, loving all the Italian stuff that you've had at up in Atlantic City, and I had a great meal
It was
at
great.
one of them
I mean,
before
absolutely
last week.
fantastic restaurant scene.
And Kansas, my heart, I have a good friend that works for the alumni magazine there in Lawrence. Lawrence is a good little funky town. Some good, really food scene too. Little, independent, upscale bistros and things like that, along with good college dive bars. I do like Lawrence, but Kansas is one of those choking dog teams, just like Gonzaga. And I am going to be going with Providence and the great Italian food and the good pizza joints also in the Providence area. So I'm going with the upset there on the food angle. We're going to go with the Providence Friars. And it's plus 260 on the money line, getting 7.5 on the spread, 7 and a hook. And again, that could be another profitable, rewarding game based on food alone.
Yeah.
This is a blowout, though, on the food angle.
absolutely.
This final game, I mean, Miami, which I believe this, Mike Mayo, and I was talking about it earlier when we were saying, introducing the fact you were going to be on a show that, having lived in New York and Los Angeles for a decent portion of my life, and being here the last 40 some odd years, I don't think the South Florida food scene pales in comparison to anybody's, and is largely underrated when people talk about Chicago and Philadelphia and all of these other places. Miami stacks up against anyone. I mean, any corner you can find 5 or 6 good restaurants.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I went with them 2 times last week because Coral Gables, and if you just want to go in the immediate area around there, has some great restaurants. And but you know what? Be prepared to be shocked, Defo. Because
Iowa State, you're going to go.
Iowa State,
Where the hell are they? What
same
city in
way
Iowa?
that I love Skyline chili. And
No.
by the way, I wish Lubie could have played the video of you eating the Skyline
I'll
chili.
post it on my Instagram at
right.
Lubie on air. There's
Why not just go to
I have that
Guantanamo and
same-
show some of the torture videos?
Same fondness for corn dogs. No, I am kidding. I hate
No.
corn dogs.
Okay.
I hate Iowa fairs. I
Nah.
hate everything about the Midwest except
Large
for Prairie
pigs.
Meadows.
Yes.
I
I didn't
am-
mean that in a sense of female.
I
population.
am decidedly in UM's corner. I'm not thrilled the fact that this week they're a favorite instead of a dog.
Yeah,
I always
Yeah.
like the dogs because dogs you end up getting more handsomely rewarded.
But it's a
However,
favoritism in relation to the overwhelming discrepancy in the great food scene here versus
Yeah,
whatever's in Iowa State.
yeah, no, we love the Canes. We love Jim Larrañaga. It's a good story. It's a home angle and food angle wise, it's a route. It's a runaway. So we'll easily give the 3 and a hook, and we'll easily take the minus 165 on the money line. We'll bet 100 to just make
Let's
about
go, okay.
whatever it is, $60, and that's all. So that's it. You got your 4 games tonight. We're going to go with UM Hurricanes, UCLA Bruins, the Providence Friars, and the St. Peter's Peacocks. And somebody was asking on the Let's Eat South Florida Facebook group, where can they go to watch the St. Peter's game? Is there any place around that features, like alumni or fans of St. Peter's? And I was thinking the Peacocks, you got to go down to, I guess, isn't there the Peacock Bar and Grill down in the Peacock Park in Coconut Grove? Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah. That one I'm not familiar with.
No.
It was one of my original places of dwelling was Coconut Grove, and I loved it down there at the time. It was absolutely fantastic. But no, not familiar with that joint. That's for sure. All right. Well, it's interesting. Now we're going to see you later on the Lunchbox. We won't see you, but we'll hear you. And that's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, Odyssey radio app, and you can hear that anywhere that you can also view and listen to the Defo show here on Ion channel. Now, you're not going to shovel something disgusting in your face to close this out. I mean, the people are going to be disappointed.
Again, the trip to
and you look good today. You look awake. You look sharp.
Oh, I didn't even get to the Dolphins.
Oh,
and
your
I wanted
Dolphin
to just say, now that they've gotten Tyreek Hill and everybody's back on the bandwagon, here I am.
Super Bowl bet.
But here's the problem. I've got 2 words of warning for everybody because, how excited are you going to get over, oh, sure, great, a dynamic wide receiver. 2 words, Mike Wallace.
Yeah, but he wasn't Tyreek Hill.
He's not Tyreek Hill.
They convinced themselves that Wallace was the answer.
He was the highest paid
thought they needed a flyer.
receiver, and he was a complete,
2 other words though apply there, and they usurp and overpower the overrule the whole thing about Mike Wallace, and that's Mike Tannenbaum. Therein lies the problem, Mike Tannenbaum.
And you're going to put your money on Chris Greer at this point? So
I'm going to put my money on the Panthers to win that first round series. And you know what? Now that I realize it's a substantial amount of money, I'm going to have an even deeper and more emotional rooting interest.
Yes.
Whereas, I would have shrugged my shoulders and said, the cynical angle is always a good one for sports talk, right? Because let's face it, people are much happier when they're in misery. If that makes any sense. Sports fans are, right? Where they can go, see, I told you they're no good, right? So I think people are, subliminally rooting for their failure, much like you are openly.
Yeah, financially, every kind of way. And I guess, if I have to apply the food angle to whoever their first round matchup is, Sunrise, Florida, not known for their great culinary scene. So we'll get to
got
that.
landlubbers nearby, so let's not discount Alex Sufrene.
Actually, who am I to say? Sunrise, Florida, home of South Florida's only remaining Skyline chili.
You want to see the video?
I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it a not necessarily seal of approval because the leftover Skyline chili still sits in my refrigerator untouched.
The dog won't even eat it.
With a pretty good chance that it'll make it to the garbage can untouched. But nonetheless, I could see where people would actually like it and where it would have, some positive significance to a lot of people. I actually can see that, Michael.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
I will admit that after, going there with you and seeing there were many happy customers voluntarily going into Skyline Chili.
Yeah, but the reason why I didn't stuff my face with anything today is because I've already filled my quota of eating garbage for the week. So that's it.
You left nothing,
I love
to spare there.
Neither did Lubie. He was licking the plates.
No, but he does that everywhere. You can't go by Lubie. He's a disgusting pig when it comes to food. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It was good. I liked it. I like the stuff. What can I say?
Yeah. When the lady asked if she could take your plate away and your tongue was stuck to it, though, I mean, I thought even a sophisticated food critic of the Sun Sentinel, and now the man behind a 76,000 strong following on Let's Eat South Florida on Facebook.
Yeah, we all have our guilty pleasures.
Stuck to a plate of like grated, tasteless cheese.
It's called the mild cheddar. It's more for the blanket of warmth, that melty.
No, I mean,
anyway,
they got their philosophy at Skyline Chili from all of those years of watching the Bengals fail under Marvin Lewis, right? Where mediocrity, bland is what they really wanted to be. Tasteless. All right, don't get me started on that. I really dug the people there. You mentioned the owners. I think they knew that we were coming there, and that I was an asshole, and I was talking negatively about the place. I really believe that. Did you not sense that? That's why I whacked out a pretty fat tip, because I wanted a lady to
they like
realize I was only kidding, man. It was like a Portnoy complaint.
They like you more than Vincenzo likes me at 84. I can't believe I was.
I can't believe you stiffed a maitre d' at Runway 84.
After I got in on a
and they sponsor your show. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, they're sponsors of your show. And then,
I didn't know if it would be taken as an insult because Anthony set it up, or I don't know. I guess it's never insulting.
Oh, it was a freebie on top of that, and you?
No. It wasn't a freebie, but it's just that Anthony got me in. He called in and made sure to take care. So and Anthony was working the floor. I fucked up. I got to go in there and.
You better go in.
You better go in as Jimmy Conway, man.
Yeah, you better go in.
Stick 100 in everybody's jacket pocket there.
I'm the worst. Even I know that.
I better hit on these games tonight, and then I'll do that tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you at noon. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox at noon, Odyssey Radio app, and always a pleasure, my friend. You held up very well today under the pressure of, it's not easy following that Professor Big Board thing, because he was on his game once again, but we are concerned about, I think he shouldn't chew tobacco while he's on the show.
I'm going to make sure he's aware of that.
I don't know if he was choking on a chicken wing. Was it a chicken wing? Is it COVID? I mean, it's like we got to give the guy a test. He was wheezing and hacking, and like I'm the one who should be doing that because
your Skyline, exactly.
So, well, yeah.
All right,
after
guys,
that, you should be doing
the
toilet. Yeah. All right, Mike Mayo, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambling Gourmet. All right, a lot of fun being with you. We'll do it again on Monday, and our Believe podcast today. You can catch that on the Believe Network. That's spelled a weird way, BLEAV. And we have Brandon Lange on the show, and he's fantastic anytime that he appears. So you're going to love that, and he'll have some steam for you on the games tonight. The professor has been on fire throughout the tournament, and his picks, he went with two favorites. And, that shows you a non-discriminant guy that, he could bet on Duke even though he hates him like poison. Can you imagine?
Oh, no, but he's a gambler. You know that. Before we go, Mark Lawrence couldn't make it, but he definitely wanted to give a pick. He said he's going against a lot of our guys. Providence. He's going against the professor, but he's going with Mike Mayo. He's going with Providence. And the Playbook Sweet 16 guide has Arkansas as the special upset. And they had that last night. Arkansas over Gonzaga.
Wow.
Arkansas over Gonzaga, and he's going with Providence in his play for us.
I hit on my one prop. I don't know if you could have gotten any kind of a price on that. I would imagine it would have been prohibitive at best when you took the field against Gonzaga. But I did not see Gonzaga winning the championship this year. And I would venture to say that every expert I saw on the bracketology shows where, they came out finally with the announcements and had the number one seeds, and every single guy, I mean, CBS should be disgraced to have every single guy had the matchup of Gonzaga and Arizona with either one of the two winning almost equally divided. And neither of those teams is going to appear even in the, the round of 8 teams, right?
Yeah,
the Elite
bad.
8, as they call it. Which it should be the grade 8, should it not? Come on, Lubie. What is wrong with the entire Elite 8? Nobody can. It's supposed to be alliteration. It's not, right? I guess it is because both words start with an E. But outside of that, it doesn't sound as good as hey, we made the Sweet 16. We made the grade 8. I want to recommend that change, Mike Lubitz. And how does Italy go down to North Macedonia? Macedonia.
Get it right. North Macedonia.
Macedonia.
It's not that they only lost. They now will make missed their second straight World Cup. They won the Euros, which is supposedly more competitive than the World Cup. They now missed 2 straight World Cups, one of the world powers. It's freaking weird.
That's from me, Mr. Soccer. Supposed to run into Ray Hudson. Jim Sarney's going to set that up. We're going to have lunch together next week. Ray Hudson, one of my favorites, and we'll talk him into coming on the show.
Yes, he's
or as
great.
we like to call him, Ray Hudson, man, because he's got the accent, and there's nobody better. And I know we ignore soccer because we think it was a sport that really predated Cro-Magnon Man. I mean, just a stupid game, right? A mutant society, no arms. They had no arms or hands, and that's why they invented a game where you kick the freaking ball the whole time. Can't touch it, right? How many times you're watching a soccer game? Pick it up and throw it, grab it, throw it. If you were going to be screaming at a screen, I'll be screaming at screens later on today. Having a lot of fun. All right, you guys have a great weekend. It's always tremendous being here on Ion Channel. Google the Defo Show. Some changes upcoming. It's going to be fantastic.
Sure.
And and a happy birthday to Jersey Kyle.
Oh, happy birthday, Jers.
Although I think it's ultimatum time with this kid.
Yes.
Is it not? Yeah.
I'm not an ultimatum person.
I mean, you're either with us or you're not. Come on, Jersey. What the hell is that?
Happy birthday, Jers.
Yeah, happy birthday, though. We don't. It's not personal. It's business. I will see you guys Monday at 7 here on Ion Channel, and it's a lot of fun. Google the Defo Show. Our interview with Jim Larinaga was great, and he's tremendous once again, although I have not seen him featured in these interviews. They have at like halftime and before the game. They've had Holloway with the St. Peter's team. What about a little Jim Larinaga?
They had him at
Come
the
on,
end of the
guys.
last game. Like, they wait till he's playing. They haven't done any features on which is annoying. The St. Peter's is getting all the freaking attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they're a great story, and we'll see if they can do any damage tonight. They certainly go in with unabashed confidence about the fact that they don't care that they're a 12.5-point dog going into their game tonight against Purdue, which Purdue is vulnerable, aren't they? Let's hope it happens. I love Cinderellas. I really do. I hope that story continues, and, of course, we're pulling for Jim Larinaga and his Hoopsters tonight against Iowa State. That's interesting. They kind of caught a little bit of a break there, you would have to say, as they don't have to face one of the heavier weights in the tournament and have a team that is of equal consideration, at least according to the people that made the brackets up in the seedings, who obviously had no idea what the hell they were doing. Right? I mean, all of these teams getting eliminated, number one seeds, right out the door. Kaputski. And we'll see if more of that happens tonight. All right, we'll see you guys on Monday. Once again, for Mike Lubitz, great job all week long. Mike Lubitz, a lot of fun this week on the show. We had it was great coming back, and we'll have the full week of programs coming up next week here on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
That was very cool. You got Gene Deckerhoff on the show, man. Really one of the great gentlemen that's ever been in the broadcasting business, and a real talent. And we wish him all the luck in the world, although he'll still be doing Buccaneer games. I think Brady lured him back in. It's 9/11 here on the East Coast.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.